Last-minute booking, or in some cases, a lack of booking, usually leads to an incredibly lackluster result. Just watch an episode or two of my WWE 13 Universe mode and you'll figure that out pretty quickly. Sometimes, however, a sudden change of plans or an unexpected outcome can yield remarkable results. In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 title changes that weren't originally planned, or, if you'd prefer, 4 last-minute title changes. Considering some of the boneheaded decisions I actually orchestrated in the past, Dean Ambrose is the WWE Champion, The Undertaker joining The Shield, Donald Trump becoming the SmackDown General Manager. Wait, I don't remember that last one. Alright, who's the jokester that put this one in the script? It may surprise you that one of the focal superstars of both WWE 2K15 and 2K16 received that role by accident. To whom do I refer? Well, that would be the now former Intercontinental Champion, Titus O'Neil.
Really?
You may ask? But you heard me correctly. At WrestleMania, my original plan was not for Titus O'Neil to win the Intercontinental title. Granted, at that point, I would still go back and forth between controlling the match myself or giving it to the AI, and I didn't exactly have a concrete winner in mind either. While I was leaning toward giving Cody Rhodes the belt, my only goal was to get the title off of Ryback so I could move him to the main event scene. If that had happened, however, the Primetime Players implosion wouldn't have gotten as much development as it did. Rhodes' eventual switch to Stardust wouldn't have made as much sense, and it's highly doubtful that the Cesaro-Titus O'Neil feud would have ever happened. I guess you could say that the outcome of this match was written in the stars. The next entry on this list is another potential shocker considering how well I ran with it in the end. And that is Dolph Ziggler's first World Heavyweight Championship victory at WWE 2K15's Extreme Rules. In modern times, it's well documented that Christian, despite many opportunities to do so, has never defeated Dolph Ziggler one-on-one. But at the time, Christian was only 2 months into his title reign. He only won the belt at Elimination Chamber, whereas the closest Ziggler had ever come to a World Championship was being the second man eliminated in the WWE Championship Chamber match on the same night. Furthermore, Ziggler had never been given a real shot at the main event scene on Raw despite being one of the original Raw superstars still on the roster, along with Zack Ryder and The Miz of all people.
Really?
On the other hand, Christian had been one of Raw's biggest picks in the WWE draft when he and CM Punk swapped brands, bringing with them their respective titles. Considering that CM Punk held onto his belt until SummerSlam, it's almost a crime that Christian lost his title so soon after changing shows. With all this in mind, Ziggler's victory was a huge upset at the time. I had initially planned to have Christian lose the title to Ryback at SummerSlam so that I could draw the parallel to their Intercontinental Championship match at the previous SummerSlam, but Ziggler's victory allowed me to hit the refresh button on the entire main event hierarchy of Monday Night Raw. Without that, I think SmackDown would have easily had a more interesting world title feud for those first few months following the draft. With this sudden change, however, Raw actually wound up with a better supported title picture, something which I didn't seem to actually figure out until after both Punk and Ziggler had lost their titles at SummerSlam. Nonetheless, Ziggler's breakthrough at Extreme Rules was little more than an accident, which, much to Christian's dismay, worked wonderfully. Most of the subjects I've discussed at length in this series thus far involve material from previous games like WWE 2K15 or 2K14. But the third entry on this list actually took place at the recent Battleground pay-per-view. Since it's such a recent event, however, that means that I had full control over the decision, unlike the other title changes on this list. So why is it here? Well, that's because it was a choice I made at the absolute last second, as in, immediately before I recorded the match. Only 2 championships changed hands at Battleground, and both were fairly long reigns, so that must mean that I had strong faith in whoever I decided to give the belt to. Think you figured it out yet? Well, if you guessed Baron Corbin, you're wrong, because I only barely decided to take the tag titles off of the Ascension at Battleground. It's not like this is a very groundbreaking decision though, as I was originally going to have them lose at Survivor Series to the Lucha Dragons. What is different, however, is that I decided to give the titles to Finn Balor and Hideo Itami instead of to Sin Cara and Kalisto. Why did I decide this? Well, to avoid blatantly spoiling anything in the future, I haven't had many instances of 2 individuals coming together to win the tag team titles. In the past, I've mostly given the gold to previously established partnerships like the Ascension, the Wyatt family, and tons of funk. As well as that, I thought the pairing of Balor and Itami was too good to ignore. When it comes to the Ascension, however, I had pushed them to the top hot on the heels of their debut, so I wanted to take a step back with them sooner rather than later. As for the Lucha Dragons, they were just the odd team out. Hey, maybe, like I said before, the Lucha Dragons can shock the world. They're ready. They're ready to show their lucha art inside and outside the ring. But, first of all, they need to stop thinking about Baron Corbin being on Raw. Only then can they have their revenge. Sasuke? Hey, like I said, they're here to stay. Make a good lucha thing. God damn it. Woo! The last entrant to this list is unique because it's something that never made it into an actual Universe Mode video. This is behind the universe after all, so there has to be some sort of hidden information revealed in these videos, am I right?
You know, not counting all the new details I've already given you by now.
We'll get to the reveal in a moment, but first, let's take a trip down memory lane.
Oh god!
In all seriousness though, it's July of 2015. The hype from the WWE draft has died down, new superstars have arrived on the scene, the road to SummerSlam has begun. The Over the Limit pay-per-view begins with a United States Championship triple threat match involving the current champ, Cesaro, and his opponents, the two former members of Viva Perfecto, Alberto Del Rio and Curtis Axel. For months, Del Rio and Cesaro have fought back and forth for the US title, leaving Del Rio with potentially his last shot at the gold. Curtis Axel, on the other hand, has been ignored and betrayed by his partner, so his goal is to ensure that Alberto Del Rio does not walk out with the title. Cesaro, meanwhile, has yet to begin the United States Championship Open Challenge, so his sole focus is to retain his title and end his rivalry with Alberto Del Rio once and for all. The three men battle for 10, maybe 15 minutes, until only one is left standing. Your winner, and new United States Champion, Curtis Axel! Out of the 3 takes it took me to get the outcome I wanted, I almost stopped after the first. I mentioned earlier about how the Titus O'Neil versus Cesaro rivalry could never have happened, but here's another instance where that path could have gone in a different direction. This was only 2 months into Cesaro's reign, at a point where Cesaro's only opponent, excluding Axel, had been Alberto Del Rio for 4 straight pay-per-views. It's needless to say how weak that title reign would have been if Cesaro dropped the belt here. And after a pretty garbage second attempt where Cesaro won the match, Cesaro won the third and final take. At the time, I wasn't sure how long I wanted Cesaro to keep the belt, but I knew that it was way too early to put the title on someone else, and so I scrapped the recording of Axel's victory. Even so, it's fun to imagine what could have happened if I let Axel have a run with the title, though I doubt it would have been as good as Cesaro's run eventually became. Just think about it. Curtis Axel's United States Championship Open Challenge. That doesn't sound quite as perfect as Axel himself would like to believe. Thanks for watching. I know a lot of you are still waiting for the next Pretend It Never Happened video, but rather than just milking that same concept to death, I'd like to try to explore a few more concepts as to what I can do with this Behind the Universe Mode series. Like I said in the last video, if you have any ideas, any suggestions for certain concepts you'd like me to make, or certain things you'd want me to explore, like I said, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. And until the next video, keep on YouTubing.